Dust settle, dark side, green belt. Okay, Greenbelt access. Green Bank doesn't like visitors, and rising tensions on the belt have made it even less welcoming. They won't let you in without a reason. Talk your way in. The Greenbelt is locked down thanks to fears around Utspo influence, but perhaps you can convince them you have a reason to head inside. Fabricate permission. You don't have permission to get inside Greenbelt, but that won't stop you putting together a fake pass or document asking that you are let in. Greenbelt buzzes with focused activity, the passages full at shift change, then empty once the work begins. It's a place that runs on its own schedule, but comfortably so. That comfort bought by being one of the largest food producers in the belt. There's always work in these fields, protected by a thick skin of transparent layers, and you can see why the humble life it offers has captured more than a few of the belt's itinerant workers. Sleeper, the voice, soft but forceful, takes you by surprise. As a turn, you're met with a delicate face, wearing a confused expression. Apologies, I mistook you for someone else. She covers her embarrassment with a smile. Marky, what brings you to Greenbelt, friend? Just looking. Marky nods gently. Well, we aren't usually open to spectators, but I'll make an exception. She clasps her hands together. Come with me. Arky leads you through a series of doors, gliding down into passages cut into the rock, then up, following pipes into metal passages that cross the fields themselves. He stops on a bridge overlooking the soft curve of farmland that makes up one of the asteroid's two biospheres. Below, leaves flap in zero-G, waves spreading out across a sea of green. Varieties we farm here are specially selected and customized for microgravity. She puts her hands on the railing at the edge of the bridge. We feed them from beneath, irrigating and nourishing them through the very medium they grow with. The light of helium helps us with this, of course. Aki squints through the transparent roof at the distant pale sun. Where are these plants from? Solheim left us many things, including a few seed vaults filled with their own engineered microgravity crops. She turns to face you. Then there are the stacks found across the belt, self-contained microfarms. We have been able to propagate crops from them in some cases. But how about you? Aki's sharp eyes take in your expression. Could you contribute to such a place? a green and growing strip in the grey belt. I have other business. Aki bows a little, of course, but please. She gestures out at the farms. Take it in. You will remember this place, and perhaps your memories will lead you back to us. She smiles. The plants, they have a kind of peace. An eternal quality that makes them seem less fragile than they are. He sighs. This place, like any other in the belt, has its pressures. It is for me to navigate them. She looks away, frowning at something in the distance. I must attend to those pressures. Excuse me. I'm glad our paths crossed. She bows a shallow bow. I hope they do again. And with that, Aki leaves you to look over the sea of gently waving green, an impossibly beautiful, impossibly fragile glass case of growing things. The Greenbelt is a close-knit community. You'll have to prove your reliability before Aki will open up. Farm shift. Greenbelt rewards its workers with food and board, and most seem happy to exchange the work for a simple life. Maintenance shift. The farms are as much machine as plant, and those machines need the same careful tending. Shift. Come and set a meeting in the wheat shaft. Wheat chief. All you can do is buy a drink and wait to be called. Jin finds you in a quiet corner of the rig. Serafin just gave me something I think you need to see. Jin has been uncharacteristically quiet since your journey to the Aphelion Path's resting place, and even now, there's a seriousness to him you do not recognize. He produces a personal terminal, a slate, and shows you the screen. On it is a message from the singers, from Peter. I'm pleased to report the fraction drive's extraction was a success. You hear the gravely voice in your mind as you reach, thanks to your choice to concede. Conway attempted to pursuit, but singer ships are fast and quiet, and we soon lost them in the debris. You smile. Peter's arrogance is clear, even in writing. We have now begun on the project to implement and expand the fraction drive, which is why I am writing to you. Encrypted with this message is a full scan of the drive itself, its components and systems. You exchange a glance with Eugene. I believe you deserve as much for your integrity in our encounter. I am glad we didn't have to kill you. What you do with the plans is up to you, but I would recommend you do not attempt to sell or publish them, unless you wish to attract further attention from Conway. The singers will soon leave Helion, and in part we have to acknowledge your role in making this possible. We wish you safe passage on your journey, Peter. At the bottom of the message, a handful of encrypted files open up to reveal an insanely complex set of scans and diagrams, the fraction drive. You look up at Eugene, who has a sharp smile on his face. The bastard did it. He shakes his head. And I have you to thank for stopping me from killing him. Can we build this? Yichin puffs. I'm no engineer, but perhaps. He squints at the diagrams. We would need a lot of resources and the kind of machines only found in places like Darkside. Time, research, who knows? Yichin grins. The point is, it's possible. We have the plans, the path is there. You see now, Yichin's swagger returning. For better or for worse, this project fuels him. It's on the back burner for now. We have more immediate things to deal with. He slips the terminal away. But I will start calling in favors, quietly investigating how real this is. Look carefully. He nods. I've learned my lesson. Yichin frowns, something dark crossing his face. Look, I know this is exciting, but... He pauses, unsure of his words. We know what people did to claim this drive. He swallows hard. But I did. Yichin taps at the terminal. Part of me wants to delete these right now. Looks down. They make me afraid of what I'll do to fulfill them. It won't be like this. That. Perhaps you're right. He smiles quickly. I want to believe it. He slips the slate away. The way you treat me, it makes me believe something. His brow knits, his own words irritating him. But I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not much of a believer. Yichin looks down. You can see he is fighting with himself. I don't like to owe people. Pats you on the shoulder. But for you, I will make an exception. With that, he turns away, gliding back through the ship and out of sight. A fraction drive of your own, a machine to cut a path through the stars. You shake your head. It's hard not to dream. But you have seen the danger of that dream too. What it drove Yichin and others to do. Perhaps together you can keep each other on that narrow path to the future without straying into obsession. Or perhaps, thinking of those impossibly complex plans, it will never come to pass. Are they a diagram of your future or a labyrinth to become lost in? The only way to know is to live it together. You have a natural ability with the plants. Aki's voice makes you look up from your work. It is rare. You expect Aki's typical warm smile, but she looks pale, distracted. I have something I want to discuss with you. She leads you out of the biome into the damp, rock-cut tunnels that run just under the surface all across Greenbelt. I'm sure you've noticed the section of our fields that has been lying fallow. Aki says as she glides through the low tunnel. It's been like this since I took over as administrator here. My predecessor was the one to fail it, and confidence was lost in his vision. She shakes her head, but we have been unable to recover it. No matter the crop, the preparations, nothing will take. It leads you through a set of double doors, and then up into the second biosphere. Immediately you feel a difference. The air is dry, and a thin, choking dust fills the space. Aki puts out a hand and rubs the dust between her fingers. With its output halved, Greenbelt is under threat. She sighs. Those who wish to control this place are circling. We cannot lose our independence. But I wasn't always in the belt. Aki stares out at the dry landscape. I was born on a moon, Ember's Step. A failed experiment in terraforming from before the collapse. We survived by cultivating the dust. I came here, like many, in the shadow of the war. My ship lost. Aki pauses and takes a moment, the loss still fresh in her mind. But it held the key. Aki looks to you, and perhaps holds it still. She wipes the dust from her fingers. Step silk, a plant that thrives in the dry and the dust. a plant that might thrive here. I've seen your ship, and you've shown me you are to be trusted. I want you to go to the remains of my own, the wind's long shadow, and to try to recover anything we might use. A plant, a husk, a seed, anything. It is a desperate step. She frowns and looks away. Where's the ship? Wind's long shadow lies wrecked beyond the sunward edge of the belt, beyond Healing Gate. Aki pauses. I do not know what remains. My crew and I were lucky to escape. Greenbelt has reserves of cryo for moments like these. We will pay you for the retrieval, of course, depending on what you are able to retrieve. Aki sighs. This is our final recourse. I hope I will not be judged as harshly as my predecessor. Come, Aki turns. Let us go back to where the green things grow. She smiles. It is a better place to consider the future together. And Aki leads you away from the barren biosphere, the doors scissoring shut behind you. Yeah, okay. The wind's long shadow floats broken open at the sunward edge of the belt. One of the refugee ships that made the fraught journey out of the belt from the inner system before the war truly took hold. The wind's long shadow is a monument now, and a warning to any other vessel that might stray sunward. I don't like this place, Nia speaks up from the back of the cockpit. These were refugees. There's no mercy to be found out here. It's hard to imagine that this cold, dead place might hold some key to the future of a settlement as verdant as Greenbelt. But that is why you're here. Steppe silk husks, that's what Aki said. The crop she brought from her home. Carried out with the refugees. If there's anything left, it'll be your journey to continue its journey from this place. Your job to continue its journey. There's no salvage job, sleeper. Seraphim gets up from his cockpit seat. You need to be delicate. The more of those things we can get out, the more Aki will pay. Not to be totally mercenary. Seraphim winks at you. Look out at the wreck, shrouded in debris. Delicate, right? Time to put that to the test. Steep silk search. Finding steep silk husks left behind in the processing base will take care, patience, and a little luck. Depressurization. The base are leaking atmosphere, and your search is making it worse. If they lose it all, any husks will be destroyed. Cut open base. Systematically cutting open the base to find husks is safer and smarter, but slower than tearing them open. Break open base. The split in the ship has revealed layers of base and machines for processing step silk. Breaking them open might reveal forgotten husks. Container hunt. There's a container in the storage vault that has some step silk inside. The trick is finding it. Scan. There are a lot of containers to search. Scanning for organic material will help, but the debris is still an issue. Search for husks. The ship's vault is full of sealed containers that might hold a protected step silk husk, but it's also full of dangerous debris. Step silk. Digging through the remains of the old dust house is an act of hope. Can anything have survived this? Fragile husks. The step silk husks and dust are easily exposed. One wrong move and they'll be destroyed forever. Clear dust house. Dust house is full of dirt and shrapnel. Clearing it might unearth some husks, but it might also destroy them. Sector search. Sifting through the clouds of dirt, sector by sector, is the safest way to uncover any husks that might have survived. Okay. If the wreck wasn't it before, now Starward of the final husks of life, it surely must be. Severin starts up the drive. You give the wind's long shadow a final look in its resting place. It is hard to feel sad about another chunk of scrap orbiting in a system that is made of nothing but the scrap of past regimes. But the people who lived on and built this ship, those people are worth a moment of memory. You think of them as you prepare to leave and hope that they, like Aki, have been carried on to new lives beyond the desperation of escape. And those that didn't get out, you hope your passing through this place did not disturb them. Okay. You bring the step silk husks you gathered from the wind's long shadow to Aki, and she's as pleased as you would expect. You meet her on the bridge overlooking green fields, the greenbelt workers quietly toiling below, while the air recycler's wind gently rustles the leaves of the crop. Sleeper, Aki holds the husks to her chest. Thank you. These are a new beginning for us. Aki pauses, knitting a brow. How was she, the wind's long shadow? Must have been beautiful once. Aki smiles. She truly was. She looks down until they killed her. Aki sighs and looks out at the greenbelt fields. Everyone must die in the end. The belt makes wrecks of us all. She looks back to you. But what you have brought me, this is new life. Give us time. We will need to clear and reseed the other biosphere. Aki bows. I hope you will return to us when the work is done. She presses a handful of chits into your hand. Thank you. She meets your eye. You watch her carry the husks gently away, glowing with the promise of fresh growth. Aki's working to integrate the step silk into the biome, storing up greenbelt. You should come back when she's done. Thanks, Targok. We Chief is surprisingly welcoming for what was once an old Solheim canteen. The corporate bones are still there, metal stools, a strip of service windows, sheet metal walls, but over the tens of thousands of cycles since the collapse, they have been softened and changed, layered with the detritus of human existence. As you wait at the bar with Seraphine, you look at the planters welded into the walls. The scrawled messages, the layers of stickers and flyers and posters, the amberlight fittings replacing the old fluorescent strips, the gear racks lined with farmers' packs, the netting bulging with crates and canisters, along with the low rumble of conversation coming from the off-shift farmers. It all lends a warmth to the place. one that helps soothe your nerves ahead of the meet with Carmen. You and Seraphin lean side by side at the bar, facing towards the room. You both watch Flint, just across from you, who insisted on coming along. Seraphin clears his throat. What do you think of Cadence? The sudden question makes you look over at him, and you see he is playing with his coin, spinning it in his palm. What do you mean? Seraphin shakes his head and turns to you. You know what I mean. He closes his hand on the coin. I think. He pauses and then starts again. We kind of have a thing. He shakes his head. You know what I mean? I noticed. Yeah. He smiles. I thought you might. Well, Seraphin sighs and stretches. I guess I just wanted you to know. You're thinking how to respond when the bartender taps you on the shoulder and nods toward the door of the back room. It's time. The door to the back room. You look over at Seraphin and Flint, who is already approaching you. You give them a nod and head inside. The back room is metal-walled and lined with racks of old Solheim tech. You see cookers and auto-wash units piled up with dead terminals and servers. At the far end, a window looks out across the greening glass of Greenbelt's farms. You made it, Carmen smiles, backlit by the window. We have a lot to discuss. Good to see you. Friend, if you don't mind. Carmen nods at the other sleeper as they enter and gestures towards the door. Flint turns to you. I'll be outside. They slide the door shut, standing guard on the other side. We have to take some precautions, even here. Carmen gestures for you to come closer. So, Seraphin sighs. Is this plan of ours looking any more reasonable? That depends on what your crew can bring to the table. Carmen glances at you. We're going to need to do a lot of work to direct the data Ankita gave you towards those that we need to see it. Who's that? Utspo primarily. They should know about their boss's betrayal of the belt, and secondly, all of Darkside. They need to know what we do. Ankita can help us. She must. Carmen looks away. Without her, this plan is impossible. Then we make contact with Ankita as soon as we make it onto Darkside. Seraphin looks at you. We just need to stay under Lane's radar. The thought of Lane brings the memory of his attempted takeover to the front of your mind. The feeling of him slipping behind your eyes, moving your frame, that can't happen again. Apologies. We do not wish to interrupt, but we must interject in your current course. Overseer appears in the void, flickering nervously. An encounter with Lane would likely be catastrophic. Overseer's 3 forms orbit you. As we have mentioned on arrival to Hep, we must immediately seek the mainframe, from where we can recover my codebase and reconstruct ourselves. We would then be able to aid you in your defenses against being rewritten. This is our recommended course. The 3 heads nod simultaneously and decisively. Still with us, Sleeper? Come back to Seraphin's concerned face. You dropped out for a second. Yeah, explain. To Seraphin and Carmen about Overseer, about how the old Solheim protocol slipped into your frame from the Prime ship mind Jean-Mi used in the diagnostic process. Of Overseer's protection from Lane's attempts to control you, of its proposal to make that protection effective through the old mainframe of Darkside. They listen quietly, Seraphin carefully watching you as you explain. Revealing all this, you feel the burden of holding that knowledge alone being lifted. This changes things. Carmen turns and looks out of the large window at the back of the room, towards the glass canopy of the farms. We can't take on Lane without protecting you from him. Carmen turns back. You should look for the mainframe. I will make contact with Ankita and we will meet when you're ready. But this has to remain secret from Lane. And Utspo, if you are revealed, I am not sure I will be able to recover you. By the time you have ensured your safety, I will have put together a plan with Ankita to expose Lane. We take it step by step. The crux will be to find a way to disseminate the data we have on Lane to his gang, or even Darkseid at large. Common stops the path ahead still unclear to him. There's a nervous intake of breath from Seraphine, who shares apprehension. There's so many variables at play here. Some of the old tech strapped to a nearby rack flickers with a cascade of status lights. You all turn to look, and as you do, motors and servos begin spinning with the machines, whining and groaning. They harmonize, then begin to produce a voice. Our apologies. The voice is shrill and distorted. We must interpose ourselves. You recognize the tone immediately. Overseer. We are regretful. Solheim hardware in this room provided the opportunity for us to speak for ourselves. If the pile of servers Overseer was controlling could look any more apologetic, you imagine it would. Understand. We are. The server clicks as it skips a rotation. Thankful. We ascertain you require dissemination of data within a facility you target. The whine pitches higher as the motors increase their speed. As a Solheim protocol, we have capabilities to instigate station-wide announcements and messaging. They could blast out Lane's betrayal through Darkseid's corporate hardlines and flood the network with it. Seraphine looks impatiently at the screeching pile of scrap. If that is what you require of us, we are pleased to serve. The shrill tone of the response makes you cringe. Kaman has been listening silently, but now he interjects. Why would we trust you? He glances in your direction. You seem to be little more than a parasite in the sleeper system. If we use your unflattering analogy, then you will understand that a parasite requires the body of its host to live. The motor stutter. We will ensure the sleeper's continuance. And afterwards, Kamen folds his arms. When you have what you want and regain your code base from the mainframe, will you still do as we ask? We will endeavor to do so. The acrid smell of burning motors now fills the room, but we will undergo a transformative refactoring. We will become whole again, so we cannot speak to our actions in future with certainty. Seraphine and Carmen exchange concerned looks. We can do what you require. We will protect the sleeper. We will disseminate the data. We are a service protocol. We will serve. The motors and servos stutter and whine, and then go still. The status lights blinking and then fading to darkness. Overseer has retreated. We're not actually going to do what the ghost says, are we? Seraphine looks between you and Carmen. The offer is a tempting one, and one that ultimately we cannot refuse. Carmen sighs, but we must proceed with extreme care and caution. What do you think, Sleeper? Seraphine meets your eye. I trust Overseer. Seraphine sighs, then that's that. We have our plan. Carmen turns to you. Sleeper, you and your crew will find the mainframe and access it. I will find Akita. She will help us disseminate the evidence of Lane's collusions through Utspo, and then, as a fallback, Overseer will send it through the old networks to all of Darkseid. A simple plan, until you get to the details. Seraphine looks down, frustrated. Speaking of plans, I have a present for you. One that will improve our chances. Carmen pulls a small box from the nearest rack, one you hadn't noticed before, and it hinges open, revealing a chunk of tech you don't recognize. It's a spoof transponder. It will conceal your chip on approach to Darkseid. Give it a new identity, one unlikely to draw attention from the Utspo-controlled docking admin. Seraphin takes the transponder and turns it over. Where did you get this? Even retired mercenaries have their secrets. Carmen smiles. Seraphin looks at you. I'll be with you this time, Sleeper. He nods. We should think who else we want on the station too. I agree. Carmen interrupts. Make sure you trust those you bring with you, and prepare as best you can. We can't know how this will play out. You'll get one shot at this. Then we are ready. Carmen takes a breath. I have my own way of getting onto Darkside, but here he passes you a small strip of plastic stamped with numbers. My private frequency. When you're on approach to Darkside, message me here and I will sync up my transit. He points at the transponder in Seraphin's hand. Just make sure to install that first. Seraphin nods. We've got it. He sighs. The weight of the task ahead suddenly very apparent. Well, I suppose that's it. Carmen gives you both a serious look. It is. He smiles. Don't leave me waiting long. There will be more time when all this is over. Time where you don't have to keep looking over your shoulder, I hope. You leave Carmen in the back of the wheat sheaf, Flint sliding open the door as you leave. It takes the entire journey back to the ship for your nerves to settle. The end of this ordeal is so close, and yet it feels like an impossible leap to get there. Perhaps in a handful of cycles, you will know how impossible or possible it is. So, how are you feeling about this all-time protocol in your head? Seraphin doesn't look up from installing the transponder. A set of wires and cables waving loosely around him in the low light of the cockpit. Oh, she is okay. Glad to hear it, although you'll have to forgive me for being a bit concerned. He begins unscrewing a panel beneath the flight console. Maybe you could have mentioned it earlier. Seraphin clips his magnetic screwdriver to the side of the console's base and turns to face you, dusting off his hands. I've understood for a while now, Sleeper, that there are things you experience that I can't even come close to knowing how they feel. But that doesn't mean I don't understand you as a person. Seraphin gives you a concerned look. I know you're secretive, defensive, and I know there are reasons for that. I also know you're warm and kind and generous to those on this ship with you. Seraphin pauses, collecting his thoughts. I trust you, Sleeper, and I won't question this. But please hold on to what's human into you. Hold on to what's human in you. Because that is what I am holding on to. Seraphin stops, his eyes a little wild, his tone a little unsure. Then he finds himself again, settles his emotions, and turns back to the transponder. Right, that's it. He twists something beneath the console. Spoof transponders in. There's nothing keeping us out of Darkside. You exchange a look. Say the word when you want to go. Alright, Sleeper. You wanna do the honors? Seraphin is strapped on the pilot seat, guiding the rig towards Darkside. You take the strip of plastic Carmen gave you and copy the frequency into the comms window of the console. You type a simple message. Hitting in, good luck. The console chimes, the message is sent. You hope Carmen is in range to receive it. search inside your mind, wanting to find Overseer there, but you feel no presence. You hope they will be ready when called for. You look ahead out of the cockpit towards the distant glimmer of dark side. Time to take on lane. When Seraphin finally brings the rig into the Sunwatch docks, everyone in the cockpit lets out a sigh of relief. The approach was simple, routine even. Checking in with the port administration, being assigned a dock, bringing the rig to a stop, all of it familiar, but all of it laced with the tension of knowing that at any point it could all go very wrong. The spoof transponder worked. Seraphin shakes his head. So at least we know Carmen's as good as his word. Was there any doubt? Well, Seraphin shrugs. I've got used to things not going to plan by now. He shuts down the engine and unclips from his seat, but I guess there's still plenty of time for that. You see Bliss nervously staring out at Darkside. They notice you looking and smile a weak smile. The real test for Carmen is connecting with Ankita safely. If Utspo finds they stop themselves, she's in serious danger. Bliss seems as nervous as you have ever seen them, and you wonder if it is the job that is weighing on them or the possibility of seeing Ankita again. You try to imagine Carmen somewhere on Darkside, perhaps smuggling themselves aboard a freighter or among the crew of a trusted ally. You hope he's as confident as he seemed about finding Ankita. We need to spend less time worrying about what Carmen has to do and more about what's ahead of us. Seraphin turns to you. The old facility, Hep, was it? I'm guessing that's deep below all this. Seraphin gestures towards the vast accumulation that is Darkside, a city that grew on the back of the Hep, solar cells layer by layer. This chaotic structure is neither planned nor regulated, but the foundations it is built on should be as formal as any corporate facility. That means we need a path down into the foundations, and I suggest we don't just take the first one we find. Seraphin continues. We scope the area out carefully, quietly, look for the right path into the heart of this place. Should we wait for word from Carmen? Carmen will be in touch. I'll be here when he is. He nods towards the console. The comms window is still open from when you sent the message. We are right behind you, Sleeper. Bliss forces a smile. Let's start the search. Seraphin nods. I'll hold the rig down. We don't want you losing your exit route like last time. He winks. Here, he hands your comms earpiece. I salvaged this from a suit helmet. It isn't secure, but as long as Utspo don't know we're here, it should be fine. I'll let them know as soon as I hear from Carmen. Let you know. Mitsu, I go get this done, Sleeper. You know, this is what it all comes down to. Path down. Getting access to the core of the old Hep facility means exploring every path down to find the right descent. Deep road. The underpass cuts deep into the old substructure. Perhaps it can help you access the old core. Heck, bulkheads separating the layers of the station and its substructure are many bulkheads. Hacking them would provide access. Explore tunnels. In the walls around the underpass there are many tunnels. It seems some might lead deeper. The docks are a winding maze of passages, but perhaps one leads into the old substructure. Search docks to safely find a path down into the old station. The docks will need to be thoroughly searched without bringing any attention. Question crews. There are a lot of crews and works in and around the docks. Perhaps they know about the paths into the substructure. Here, where the old substructure is exposed, might be the perfect place to gain entry to the station's core. Go over the edge. Here, where the layers of the facility are exposed, it is possible to enter from the outside and explore inwards. Analyze layers. This part of the station is cracked open. Trying to understand layers that have been exposed might help the search. Okay. As you're gliding down a dark tunnel, descending deeper below darkside, your earpiece begins hissing with static. Sleeper. Zavrin's voice sounds distant, faint. Common. Contact. Met with target. It's strange to hear the rest of the message, but the static overpowers his voice. You stop and push the earpiece in deeper. Continue. Stay safe. The line goes dead. Bliss stops and turns back in the tunnel. Sounds like Carmen has made contact with Ankita. You look behind them. We should keep moving. The sooner we hit the mainframe, the better. You feel their concern for Ankita, despite everything. You continue your descent down, ducking under thick cables and collapsed beams. The busy urban life of the city above seems far away now, hidden from your senses. Its rumble and brightness has been replaced by the cloying dark and growing oppressive heat. Darkside and the HEP facility it was built on has been running unrestrained ever since the collapse, gathering huge volumes of energy, more than its residents could ever use. You feel like you can sense it in the walls, running like a torrent just behind the thin skin of metal and rubber. A large portion of the vast amount of current running through the station is radiated into the void as heat, making Darkside a typically humid station, but down here that heat is drier and more intense, and sections of wall glow with a fiery intensity. The tunnel levels out and light blasts through shutter-stripped viewing windows on either side, illuminating the passage in strips of burning white. Through the gaps, you can see a labyrinth of walkways and scaffolding tucked into the margins of the vast solar cells. The heat washes across your vinyl skin, making you tense against it. The underside of Darkside must be crossed. Descend. Now that you're inside the old facility, the problem is descending quickly and safely to the core. Follow hardline. Hardline network of the old station will surely lead you back to the core if you can decipher it. Follow margins. Backing with heat and overcharged with electricity, it is best to avoid the solar cells and stick to the margins. In your exploration of the HappyPep facility, you have seen through viewing windows and shutter slats a huge blister projecting out among the hex-shaped cells. You've approached it, circled it, and now you find yourself passing into it, through layer after layer of broken and corroded safety doors. Even if you had not felt Overseer's stirring, you would know this is the mainframe. But you have felt the protocol's presence restlessly turning over in your mind like a sleeping animal, occasionally probing your senses, tracking your progress. We feel at home. Overseer's multiple bodies stretch out their arms as if basking in sunlight. The system's networks, signals, they are fractured and weak, but we know them. Each of the broken heads shares part of a smile. They are welcoming us. Sleeper. Nia shakes you awake. We're here. He gives you a concerned look. Don't go bugging out on us now. You look around, suddenly aware that you have drifted somewhere you do not recognize, in a state you were not in control of. The spherical chamber you float within has a mezzanine set around its circumference. The floor a metal grating you can see through. On this mezzanine are banks and banks of terminals. Thick gathered cables snaking away from them across the floor. All of it bakes in the heat of the HappyPep's vast resistors. You follow those cables with your eyes. They lead to a cylindrical column coming down from the apex of the chamber. It is corroded and bent a little, with very few of its thousands of lights still flickering. Even in its decayed state, you know immediately this is the mainframe. You feel a yearning towards it, one you know comes from Overseer. But as you look around for a connection point, all you see are burned out cables, rusted sockets and broken terminals. The glow of warmth makes you feel woozy. You need to work quickly to bring this back online, before the current flowing through this place bakes you into the metal of its walls. Mainframe access. Mainframe is in a terrible state. It needs work before Overseer can be given access. Reboot terminals. Mainframe's terminals list millions of errors. They need to be rebooted before they can be used. Repair connectors. There's no way to interface with the ruined mainframe without clean connectors. Can this even work? The column of the mainframe pulses with fractured lights, a scattered wave of systems awakening, accompanied by the whine and stutter of the machines all around. It looks like it's starting up. Nia looks nervously around the room, now shaking and shimmering with energy. All this stuff is very much above my pay grade. She cringes. You reach out for the primed connector and, with your other hand, touch the socket at the base of your synthetic skull. As you do, a sharp shock runs through your fingers. For a moment, it feels like your vision doubles. As you pull the connector and its cable across your vision, you see it is only your body that is doubling. The connector, a stable object, while your arm leaves ghostly imprints through the air. You wave it back and forth, but the multiplied arms do not follow. Each instead takes on a life of its own, grabbing around your forearm and wrist, taking control of your arm. You feel the force as they push your arm across your body over your shoulder. They push once more and the connector finds its home in the socket. That familiar flow, but stronger, rushing, rapid. Then a figure, no, 3 figures, descending into it. A swimmer stepping into a river, a sleeper drifting out of an airlock, a symbol being subsumed into a sign. And you, little more than a witness, a marionette, its strings outstretched, mapped hand to hand, leg to leg, to another. The flow freezes, the 3 figures almost overlapping, almost complete, but not quiet. Their tripled eyes look back at you in horror. The voice, shrill, silent, in your head. There's someone else in here. Heat glazing your thick vinyl skin, the mainframer whirring chaos of light and sound. A brightness, and then it fades, the light shutting off, the servers powering down, a single blinking light, the only thing left on the dark column, keeping time like a metronome. What just happened? Nia looks at the dark column of the mainframe. Did we just break it? You close your eyes and try to recall the events that happened when you connected, playing them back in greater detail. Overseer was there, entering the mainframe, but something froze the system. Them in place. What did they say? Someone in there with them. You open your eyes. Was this a trap? Someone else took control. As you speak, a fizzing static fills one ear. You flinch, thinking it is some new invasion of your system, but then you hear Seraphim through the haze. Steeper, come now, waiting, the rig. It's no use, you'll have to ascend to find out what's going on topside. You look at the mainframe with its single blinking light, still keeping time. It looks like Overseer will have to wait. Trapped in the mainframe, Overseer is still the key to all this. You hope you can get the protocol out, but you need to hear what Seraphim has to say first. You make your way out of the core, sending back through the layers of the HEP back into the docks. Seraphim meets you at the docking tunnel. They are waiting inside. He shakes his head and nods toward the airlock. You cross onto the ship in silence and find Carmen in the cockpit, looking out at Darkside as it sprawls across the stars. Sleeper, Carmen turns. Sorry to pull you away, but you need to know what's coming. What's going on? This idiot blew my cover. You turn as Ankita enters the cockpit behind you and Seraphim. You immediately clocked a fresh bandage sleeve around her right forearm. I think you did a pretty good job of that yourself, Carmen retorts. You see a twinkle in his eye that suggests this back and forth is a well-practiced part of their relationship. Perhaps, but we'll never know now, not after you intervened to rescue me. Her hand goes to her bandaged arm almost instinctively. Can someone explain what happened? I passed the data to Ankita and she tried to broach it with Utsubo. Carmen folds his arms, but Lane was more paranoid than we expected. He was listening in. Either that or his lapdog Daichi ratted us out. She shakes her head. I would have put him down if he hadn't got the jump on me. By the way, Carmen cuts back in, calmly. I have to pull Ankita out. Carmen turns back to look over Darkside. The information did get through, though, and now Utsubo is in crisis as its members side with or against Lane. Meanwhile, Daichi is hunting us. Ankita screws up her face, which means we need to be careful. That's why I called you in. Seraphim puts a hand on your shoulder. You need to watch your back. Indeed, Carmen turns to face you. But how about the mainframe? Have you been successful? You explain the events of this cycle, the mainframe booting up, the successful connection, and then Overseer being locked inside, frozen by some other force. You mention their warning. There's someone else in here. Carmen nods thoughtfully. Unfortunately, we need that mainframe more than ever. With Ankita out of Utsubo, We have to get the word out. Comes right. Utspo will be distracted by these revelations, but it won't last. Without further proof, they'll all line up behind the lane in time. We have to free Overseer. We need the mainframe. Overseer is just our access tool. If your protocol is being locked in by some counter protocol or agent, I wouldn't be surprised if it can be traced back to Utspo. Ankita looks at Carmen. I know the locations of a few of the Utspo network nodes. We should hit them first. No, we need to stay under the radar. Sleeper and their crew will investigate the nodes quietly. Carmen nods at you. You and I will run interference, keep Utspo away from those locations as best we can. What if we don't find anything? Utspo uses the hardline network of the old facility. If it isn't them locking down the mainframe, it's someone using that infrastructure. You think of the feeling of stasis you felt when Overseer was trapped, and the power required to halt the flow of a mainframe as vast and ingrown as the HEPPEP one. Could it just be an Utspo hacker? You doubt it. Seems we have a plan. Seraphin looks between you all. That we do, and we'll need you to keep running comms between us. Carmen turns to you. Sleeper, Ankita will give you the locations to dig into, but keep it quiet. Daichi is out there, and he isn't as easily avoided as some low-ranking enforcer. Ankita slaps the top of a couple of crates of supplies you hadn't noticed before. Consider these a parting gift from my tenure at Utspo. Swiped them from a gang storehouse. She grins. Thought you might need a resupply. Right. Carmen addresses the room. Keep quiet and keep in touch. We can still pull this off. Oh, yeah. This network access node is on the top floor of a tower, so physical and digital access will be tricky. Hack trace. It should only take accessing 2 network nodes to identify the protocol or agent interfering with the mainframe. Scale tower. Scaling the tower to get closer to the physical network architecture will make access a lot easier, but it's an impressive climb. Hack. At the apex of a tower, this node needs to be hacked through its lower subnodes without alerting Utspo. This network access node is tucked beneath the darkside markets and will be hard to precisely locate. Hack. Will have to be hacked remotely. Talent forces node seems to be inside an Utspo safe house. By following an enforcer in, you might be able to access it physically. And this network access node is part of the Utspo docking infrastructure. It is out in the open, which presents its own problems. Bypass. As the node is so exposed, it might be better to find and splice into the hardline to connect upstream from it at a safe distance. Physical architecture of this node sits in the middle of a dock thoroughfare, so access attempts need to be concealed. Okay. Machen wir das nächstes Mal. Und, ja, mal schauen. Nächstes Mal Darkside fertig wahrscheinlich. Und mal schauen, ob danach noch was kommt.